When the flames of war are unleashed, they do not stop at borders, ideologies, or competing narratives. They surge past them, and the first victim they consume is humanity itself. The attack on a primary school in the city of Minab, in Iran's southern province of Hormozgan, stands as a harrowing testament to that blind and merciless fire. A place where books were left open, school bags were buried beneath rubble, and young lives were silenced forever. During the American and Israeli strikes on Iran on Saturday, the Shajara Tayyibeh school in Minab was targeted. Iranian officials report that 165 children were killed and nearly 100 others wounded. The two-story building was used solely for civilian education. The ground floor housed boys' classes, while the first floor was dedicated to girls. The assault reduced the structure to ruins. It is a scene that defies language. Devastation so profound that words struggle to contain it. On Tuesday morning, as funeral prayers were offered and final rites began, the entire city appeared submerged in grief. The streets were lined with tiny coffins adorned with flowers, each accompanied by photographs capturing smiles that once radiated innocence and promise. The wails of parents, the murmur of prayers, and the screams wrapped in stunned silence all bore witness to a grim reality. War is now devouring the innocent. Minab's prosecutor condemned the attack as a war crime and a barbaric act, confirming the death toll and stating that members of the teaching staff and some parents were also among the victims. Hormozgan's Chief Justice, Mojtaba Kermani, announced that 140 of the children's bodies have been identified, while 25 require DNA testing due to the severity of the blast, which rendered faces unrecognizable. These are not mere statistics. Each number is a shattered home, a broken future, a mother's extinguished hope. Iranian President Masoud Pezeshkian expressed profound sorrow, describing the tragedy as inhumane and savage. He said the incident has grieved not only the Iranian people, but all free and conscientious individuals across the world. According to the Iranian Red Crescent Society, more than 550 Iranians have been killed in the strikes that began on Saturday. Evidence of enemy weaponry has been collected at the scene, and authorities have vowed to pursue the matter in domestic and international courts. The question that looms is stark. Will the international community remain silent over the blood of innocent children? Is international law reserved only for the weak, or will the powerful also be held accountable? This tragedy is not merely a national calamity. It is a test of humanity's conscience. When a school, a symbol of peace, learning, and the future, becomes a target, it is not just a building that is destroyed, but an entire generation that is struck. History records many dark chapters of war, yet few indict humanity more powerfully than the sight of children's coffins. They stand as the ultimate testimony that somewhere, somehow, humanity has failed. Should Iran choose to knock on the doors of international justice, it will not be only a legal proceeding. It will be a plea for justice, rising from rows of small graves. The question is no longer merely political. It is profoundly moral. Will the world feel the weight of those tiny coffins, or will their memory be drowned in the noise of history? The scene inevitably recalls Gaza, where for years schools and shelters have offered no refuge from destruction. There too, the deaths of innocent children have shaken the conscience of the world. Classrooms have turned to rubble. Hospital wards have fallen silent as children on ventilators lost their breath, and the cries of mothers have etched themselves into the pages of history. When schools and hospitals are targeted, war does not only redraw maps, it shatters moral boundaries. In this broader context, we must also remember the vulnerable girls exploited in the Jeffrey Epstein scandal, lives ensnared in webs of power, wealth, and influence. Their suffering underscores a universal truth. When unchecked power and money converge, innocence is often the first sacrifice. This tragedy is not confined to one country or one region. It reflects systemic failures in a global order, where accountability too often applies to the weak, not the powerful. Where then do international human rights organizations stand? Will their voices remain confined to statements and condemnations? Why does a united, impartial, and fearless stance against the exploitation of children, attacks on schools, and the destruction of hospitals so rarely materialize? If the world truly claims to champion human rights, it must rise above the pressures of politics, capital, and power, and stand unequivocally for the protection of innocent lives. This is not only Iran's wound, nor solely Gaza's, nor the burden of any single society. It is a wound upon humanity itself. The tiny coffins remind us that in every war, it is humanity that suffers the ultimate defeat. Justice demands an awakened global conscience, accountability for war crimes, and the unwavering protection of children above every ideology and interest. If that does not happen, History will one day confront us all with a searing question. When innocence was bleeding, where were we?